Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright. Happy PoE Christmas, everybody. Right? 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 What do we got? Passive tree data. We listed the changes of the passive tree notes, but if you're a community tool creator, you can find the JSON data here. JSON data released on time. That's exciting. If you're not sure what to do with this information, don't worry too much. We'll update the path of exiles, built-in item filters, and blah 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 blah. Alright, so we don't need this shit. We don't need any of this. Okay, well this is a bit spoilery, isn't it? Katarina's veiled, Varici's veiled, Tora's veiled, Guff's veiled, Gravicious, Rin of Jengus, Jordan. This is a little bit spoilery, isn't it? Like, Leo, Elion, Haku, Vegan, Katarina, Varici, Tora. Come on. Right, map and tiers, we don't need to look at this shit. Wait, where's the rest of it then? Where's the rest of it? This is the one that was linked to me. There's more than this. Full patch notes, there it is. There's a table of contents! Oh, that's exciting. The Betrayal Challenges. The Betrayal Challenge League. Challenge Leagues are a great opportunity for a fresh start and a new economy. Every single one of them. Every single one of them starts like that. All of your old characters and items are still present in the standard and hardcore league, blah 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 blah. With 3.5, there are standard, hardcore, solo, self-found, standard, and hardcore variants. In the Betrayal Challenge League, you will investigate the immortal syndicate, whose sinister operations have begun to appear across Rayclast and Oriath. Help the new masters, Jun Otu, or how do you say that? Jun Otui? Jun Otui? Is that how we say that? Or toy? Or toy? Ah, sure. Track the progress, blah 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 blah. So we already know all this. This is what it will be. Major new content and features. There is a new roster of masters. Alva, Nico, and Einhar have returned and brought their respective league features with them. Zane, along with Zena, and the Betrayal League's Jun or Toy, if I said that right, make up the new roster of masters. Einhar's bestiary content has been revamped. He now accompanies you on the hunt and manages nets for you. Woo! Overhauled master crafting, which we already know all about. Overhaul hideout system, we already know all about. Come on, get me to the juicy stuff. New strength dex gem shattering steel, strength lancing steel. I need the gem information on that to be excited about them. Winter orb, need the gem information. Storm brand, Armageddon brand recall. Red banner. Okay, these are all the things that we know, but without any more information, just all put into one place. So that's super nice. The new skill Focus, which I'm not sure is going to be great, but we'll see. Added an advanced skill gem tutorial. By clicking on the new button on the skill gem quest rewards through Act 1, you can see previews of how that skill will interact with a variety of support gems. Nice. Okay, that is a huge new player buff. That's really nice. One above the focus. Bone chill support? Yeah, I know. It's just we don't have any of the data on any of them. God Dog, thank you very much for the 11 months in a row. Added Atlas objectives, which we already know about. 13 new unique items, 1 fated unique item, 5 div cards. Didn't we only see 4? 13 new hideouts, 3D art for the unique body armor Iron Heart. What? Really? Nobody uses that. Okay, whatever. Added 1 new Fated Prophecy. Alright, we're good. Minor and new content feature. Added a new Rogue Exile. I wonder if this one will be dangerous. Added physics interactions to many skills, including Abyssal Cry, Blade Flurry, Blade Vortex, Blink, Mirror Arrow, all of the curses, Desecrate, Discharge, Earthquake, Enduring Cry, Frostbomb, Ice Crash, Ice Nova, Leap Slam, Lightning Warp, Offering Skills, Orb of Storms, Rallying Cry, Shield Charge, Sweep, and Wither. Fuck me. Physics interactions? Excuse me? That's kind of exciting. That's kind of exciting. The Lightning Mirage Nemesis mod now plays a notable sound when triggered. Thank you. Improved performance of lighting on the D9 client that no one should be using anymore. Added new dialogue for Sin to say in the epilogue. Masters now have a different exclamation color. It's orange. Hideout decorations have been categorized and are easier to sort through. Oh my god, thank you. Categorized. That means the crafting benches or the crafting bench might be in its own category. You don't have to go looking through everything. That'll be fantastic. The Hideout map device now has several art variants to select from, including the fancy one in the Templar Laboratory. You can now move and rotate your hideout waypoint. Cosmetic aura effects can now be applied to any aura, including curse auras created by blasphemies. This is a buff. Added a Seek Prophecy button to the Prophecy panel that shows up whenever the Seal Prophecy buttons are visible. Okay, brilliant. Continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, and effects of environment. Okay, cool. Cool. Master changes. Haku, Elyon, Tara, Katarina, Vegan, Leo, and Verici are no longer Forsaken Masters. In fact, they've disappeared entirely. And we're worried about them. Einar Frey is now a master. You can meet in Act 2. It will help you catch his beasts, which you can use to craft items at the Blood Altar in his menagerie. Nico the Mad is now a master that you first meet in Act 4. He will help mine the Voltaxic Sulfite. You find for your journey. Choose to light your way through the Azurite mine. Okay. Okay, I haven't been here in a while. Have you lost weight? You look great. I have. I'm on keto. Thank you, Onojo. I've been doing keto. Which, by the way, is not fun. But it is working rather well. Alright, Alva is now a master you will first meet in Act 7. He'll send you to incursions during the construction, blah 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 blah. Masters, including Xena, no longer have reputation levels. Crafting bench options, as a result, are no unlocked grinding levels, but instead unlocked during encounters in specific locations, situations, or completing specific objectives. Hideouts are no longer unlocked or improved through master grinding. Instead, Kalina will help you unlock new hideouts found throughout the campaign and very rarely within the Atlas. Newly obtained hideouts are automatically at their maximum size and hold all masters without being upgraded. Zaina's map device options and the items she sells are now unlocked based on your progression through the Atlas / Shaper, through the Shaper / Elder questline. She can now occasionally sell higher tier maps as well as sextants. Oh, Zaina got sexier. Zaina got sexier. Let's go. Completing master missions still earns you favor. Masters now have favor level that caps out at 7. These levels only unlock hideout decorations and are account wide because favor decorations and hideouts are purely cosmetic. Not strictly speaking true, but that's fine. Favor costs for hideout decorations have been rebalanced. Character balance! Added a new debuff. Impale. When hit applies Impale, a portion of that hit's physical damage is recorded before sources of damage mitigation are applied. The next 5 hits against that target apply that recorded damage as reflected physical damage. You can have multiple. Okay, cool. Alright, that's cool. Energy shield recharge is no longer interrupted by non-damaging changes to your life and energy shield, such as when you spend energy shield on skills via Eldritch Battery. Yep, that's where my CI Berserker came from, but that's fine. You can no longer use skills that require specific weapons if you are dual wielding and one of your equipped weapons is unusable for that skill. For example, you will no longer be able to use Reeve with a dagger and a scepter equipped. This change means that the popular stat stick strategy will no longer work for attacks, but we left spells intact because we didn't think they were broken because we haven't been paying attention. As a result of these changes, Ground Slam, Vile Ground Slam, Shield Charge, Leap Slam, Double Strike, Vile Double Strike, Reckoning, Ice Crash, Earthquake, Vile Earthquake, Sunder, Word of Light, Edict of Light, Decree of Light, Commandment of Light, Word of War, Edict of War, Decree of War, Commandment of War, Tectonic Slam, Consecrated Path, Smite, Ancestral Warchief, Vile Ancestral Warchief are no longer main hand only. Cool. Alright. That would have been there was an easier way to write that. Added new stats. Non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier and cold damage over time multiplier. This affects their respective damage over time multiplicatively. Like all more multipliers do? Okay. Total amount that you can be slown. You can slow the expiration of effects on a character through time slowing mechanisms such as temporal change is now capped at 75%. Updated the remainder text for ailments to include the 3 new ailments. Updated how sources of additional maximum totems are described. Updated and improved various mod descriptions. Okay, cool. Skill rework. Arctic Breath. No longer a ground projectile. It is now capable of passing over gaps and cliffs. No longer leaves a trail of chilled ground in its wake. Now leaves chilling area upon impact and deals cold damage over time. This area will move towards enemies. You can now target specific locations with the skill. The projectile will impact at that location if it does not collide with something. Now requires a level 28. No longer has the awesome skull effect. Okay. Because it'll be in the unique item area, because it's not a normal ailment. Is why that's not there, by the way. Ice Spears. No longer pierces at short range. Now fires a rapid sequence of ice spears that move 300% faster after arming. Now grants additional crit strike multiplier after it arms. Now pierces after it arms. Tectonic Slam, which typically consumes endurance charges, now deals 60% more damage, up from 18. Now has a 35% chance to consume endurance charges and create a charged slam, down from 100. We overall nerfed the usefulness of Tectonic Slam. We thought it was a little bit too good. Anyway. Skill balance: Vile Haste, Vile Grace, Vile Clarity, Vile Discipline, Vile Impurity of Fire, Vile Impurity of Lightning, Vile Impurity of Ice, Vile Molten Shell, Vile Righteous Fire, and Gluttony of Elements from the amulet are now all instant, with very short cooldowns. Holy shit! That's a huge deal, what? That is a huge deal. Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm on board. Let's go. Tempest Shield is now instant and now also grants 3% chance to block spell damage. Cool. Vortex is now instant with a 1.8 second cooldown. Can now detonate from up to 5 Frostbolt projectiles at once. Gains increased cooldown recovery speed as it levels. Deals okay damage. Pretty decent, but not like superly fantastic. Good amount of cold damage over time though. That's a good base damage. Okay. Now has 20% less area, no longer has the 40% more multiplier. Okay, that explains why it got buffed a little. Ice Nova deals a decent amount of flat damage. Now, that's nice. Can now expand from up to 2 Frostbolt projectiles at once, no longer deals 40% when casting a Frostbolt, now has 20% less area. Now has a smaller radius at gem level 1, gaining up to +4 radius at gem level 20. Cold Snap now deals at 19.6 space damage at level 1 to... Ooh, that's a good amount. That's a good amount. Cold Snap got a buff. Cold Snap was actually already borderline usable. That's a decent enough buff to probably make it pretty good. Whirling Blades now uses weapon attack time plus 0.6 seconds rather than overriding your base attack. While base weapon speed will have some effect, this change is intended to reduce the travel speed difference between characters using local attack speed modifiers and characters who are not. No. For those of you asking where Scorch is, it'll be in the unique areas because it's not a normal ailment, it's something granted by a unique, so you shouldn't expect it up here. You should expect it in the unique area. Which we are nowhere near yet. Leap Slam now uses weapon attack time plus 0.55. Okay, I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand this right here. And I don't understand, is this gonna make my spell build that uses Whirling Blades? Is this change going to speed me up or slow me down? And then on the other side, if I'm dual wielding daggers and stacking attack speed on my tree, is this gonna speed me up or slow me down? I don't actually know. I don't really understand this bit here. This is like a mechanical blind spot for me. I don't really know how that works. Molten Strike now deals 120% of base damage at level 1 and 161% of base damage, up from 147 at gem level 20. Projectiles now deal 40% less damage at gem level 1 and 30% less damage from 40 at gem level 20. I'm sorry, what? We thought Molten Strike was a little weak, so we buff Molten Strike? Both the overall skill and the individual projectiles? There's absolutely no way reading this, there's absolutely no way they're not gutting the Helm enchant. There is no way they're not gutting the Helm enchant. Now grants 50% reduced visibility to enemies, down from 80%. This is enough. This is enough. Minions summoned by Herald of Purity. Minions summoned now deal more physical damage based on gem level rather than more damage. Boo. Boo. Anyway, Agony Crawler summoned by this skill now deals increased physical damage per virulence you have rather than increased damage. Boo. Anyway. Cast on crit support gem. Cast on melee kill, both down to 1.15 rather than 0.5. Huge buff. Block chance reduction support. Support skills now have a 10% reduced enemy block chance at level 1 down from 20 and a 20% reduced enemy block chance at level 20 down from 29. Okay. Sure. Whatever. Oxygen inflicts overpower, which reduces the block chance and can be applied normal times. Oh, okay. That's cool. Can you explain to me how that phase run skill is nerfed? I still haven't used it much. It's not really, for most cases, in most people, you're not going to notice it. This stops the phase run. There were some little fun things you could do with it, like be permanently invisible to bosses while your minions and or totems slowly kill that boss, or your righteous fire just slowly burns it to death while it can't find anything to attack. And there was darkness farming where you could be just completely invisible to everything and never get hit by anything ever because you were just invisible all the time. This stops that. People using it without those two instances of abuse will not see any difference. It will still give you... It's still fine. Like, it's gonna... If you weren't abusing those two things, you won't even notice this difference. Passive tree balance. Eldritch Battery now has 50% less energy shield recharge. Oh, hang on. The Essence Surge cluster next to Eldritch Battery. Yep. We're talking about this bit up here. Right near CI. The Essence Surge cluster next to it now grants a total of 30% increased energy shield recharge rate, down from 60. It also grants plus 60 to maximum energy shield. Excuse me? 60 flat? Okay, alright, I'm on board. That's a bit of a problem, but that's fine. Faith and Steel near the Templar now grants 10% increased energy shield recharge rate. So that's over here. Faith and Steel. I'm gonna have to be doing some changes to my build. Mental Rapidity between Witch and Templar now also gains. Ooh, where is that one? Ah, what? Now also grants 10% increased energy shield recharge rate. But it's a cast speed wheel. Oh, okay, sure, whatever. Foresight north of Scion now grants 10% increased as well. So that's the big node. Okay, so we didn't actually lose our energy shield recharge rate, it just got spread around a little bit. And we gained 60 flat, so that's sweet. Added passive skill tree clusters for the new brand skill. The explosive rune cluster between Templar and Witch increases the damage of brand skills brand attachment range and allows you to cast an additional brand. The Runesmith cluster near Shadow now grants increased damage with brand skills at brand attachment range, brand activation frequency, and causes your brand to deal increased damage to enemies that they are attached to, allows you to cast an additional brand. Added a new keystone adjacent to Ancestral Bond Runebinder, -1 to maximum summon totems. You can have an additional brand attached to an enemy. Ancestral Bond Cluster now also offers increased damage with the brand skill, increasing brand attachment range and increasing brand activation frequency. Alright. Shaman's Dominion Cluster Near Witch now also offers increased critical chance with brand skills, increases the damage of brand skills, and additional crit multi with brand skills. Okay. Alright, so I'm definitely going to need to see the new tree. Quickly just pressing check for updates on Path of Building real quick. Damn it. There's no update. I'm upset. Modified several cold and chaos damage clusters to better support the damage over time skills. Corruption Wheel Northern now grants a total of 11% to non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. Corruption Notable also grants 10% increased damage over time down from 15 and 10% increased chaos damage up down from 15. Okay. Weird. Atrophy between Shadow and Witch now grant 19% non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. Atrophy now grants 20% increased chaos damage down from 25. 3 preceding passives now grant 10% increased chaos damage down from 12. That's still a buff overall. Growth and Decay now grants 8% to both cold damage multiplier and non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. Method of Madness. Alright, I'm seeing a pattern here. Pretty much all of them have been changed to do that exact same thing. Like every chaos damage over time multiplier has added and been changed around. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, and this one's slightly different. The Fingers of Frost Cluster near Shadow now provides a total of 28% increased cold damage down from 36. 22% to cold damage over time, 20% increased effective chill, 20% increased chill duration, 20% increased freeze duration, 5% chance to freeze, 10% chance to freeze enemies which are chilled, and causes enemies to become chilled as they unfreeze. This is now spread across a total of 5 passives. Yeah, I'm going to be changing my build. We're taking that. We're doing that. Okay, that's fine. Yep, cool. Whew. The Occultist, new notable. Withering Presence. Plus 60 to Chaos Resistance. 20% to non-ailment chaos damage over time every second. Inflict withered on nearby enemies for 15 seconds. Nearby hindered enemies deal 15% reduced damage over time. Okay, well that last sentence is whatever. I don't really care about that last sentence, but free wither, 60 chaos res, which is huge. That's actually pretty good. New notable, Frigid Wake. Cannot be chilled, cannot be frozen. Plus 20% to colder damage over time multiplier every 3 seconds. 25% chance to freeze nearby chilled unique enemies for 0.6 seconds every 3 seconds. No, for 0.6 seconds, yeah, alright. Every 3 seconds, freezes nearby chilled non-unique enemies for 0.6 seconds. Nearby chilled enemies deal 10% reduced damage with hits. That's actually huge too. Wow! Jesus. Added a small passive leading to Withered Presence, which grants 8% maximum life and 5% non-ailment chaos damage over time. Same thing for Cold on the way to Frigid Wake. Void Beacon now also causes enemies to have minus 20 cold resistance. The small passive leading now also grants 10% increased cold damage. Damn, I don't know what I'm going to use for my ascendancy points anymore. Yeah, no, I still do. I'm still going the exact same. I'm not using any of these. Vile Bastion is mandatory. The only way that you get to use these new ones is by making a life occultist. Like, you need to make a life occultist. And then why? Okay. New notable, Master of Steel, 20% chance to impale enemies. Impales you inflict last 2 additional hits. If you've impaled an enemy recently, you and nearby allies have 1,000 flat armor. You and nearby allies deal 4 to 8 added physical damage per impale on the enemy. Added a small passive leading to the Master Medal, which grants 15% evasion and armor and 8% increased impale effect. Inspirational now causes your banner skills to preserve no mana, recover 20% of the planted banner stages when you cast a banner while you already have a planted banner. Causes you and nearby allies to recover 0.5% of maximum life per banner stage when you plant a banner. It now grants 15% increased effect of non-curse auras of your skills. Okay. Whew. The Hierophant, new notable, Sign of Purpose. You can cast an additional brand. Enemies take 10% increased damage for each of your brands attached to them. Brand Recall has a 30% increased cooldown recovery, 14% increased brand attachment range. Add a small passive that gives you 20% mana regen and 14% increased damage with brands. Okay, cool. Ritual of Awakening no longer grants +1 to maximum number of summoned totems. Instead, it now causes skills that would summon a totem to summon 2 totems instead and grant 3% more damage per totem. I don't think you need to get kills. Just like Vile skills, you don't need to get kills, right? Like, you just need to be around when things are killed. Same as gaining souls and whatnot, and anything else that like that. I believe. Item balance: Molten Strike Labyrinth Helm enchant now grants 1 additional projectile from the Merciless Lab down from 2, and 2 in the Eternal Lab down from 3. This is I feel like this is still an overall buff. I feel like that's still a buff. Right, I just needed to let the dog out. Feel like that's still a buff? I'm okay with this. This is great. Tectonic Slam Labyrinth Helm enchant now grants increased chance to charge slam rather than granting a chance to not consume the endurance charge at half the original enchantment's value. Okay, so they nerfed Tectonic Slam and they made Tectonic Slam's lab enchant shit? I feel like Zeb's in charge of Tectonic Slam here. We're just going to ignore that. Anyway. Disabled the Ice Spear Labyrinth Helm enchant that increases damage dealt by ice spears. Existing item with this helm enchant will go unenchanted. Will go unchanged. Right, unchanged. So they'll keep it, but this enchant can no longer appear on items. Okay, but this is just... You got rid of 1 helm enchant. Please tell me you got rid of a buttload of others. Like a buttload. Disabled the Vortex Labyrinth Helm enchant. That is increasing the base radius. Okay. Items exclusive to Shaper's Guardians and Elder Guardians now drop less frequently. Uniques exclusive to Elder Guardians now also drop based on the map tier, with some of these items unable to drop until higher maps. What? Uniques exclusive to the Elder's Guardians now drop based on map tier, with some items unable to drop until higher map tiers. This was already the case! This was already the case. You couldn't get a yoke unless you were in red maps. Shaper and Elder items and jewels can now gain mods that affect non-ailment chaos damage over time and cold damage multipliers. Okay, so some new stuff, cool. Ruby, Sapphire, and Topaz Flask no longer grant... Ruby, Sapphire, and Topaz Flasks no longer grant added maximum resistance. Instead, they reduce the damage taken of their respective elements by 20%. Loreweave is so fucking good right now. That is... Okay, look. I get that you've... Like, they've... Okay, sure. You've destroyed that whole damage immunity build. But I feel like you let Loreweave go. Loreweave was already, like, pretty strong. And now you can use a Loreweave on your Pathfinder, not run the 3 purities. Use these instead. It's still going to be pretty goddamn powerful. That's still going to be really strong. This is good. That's a good, but I like this. I like this a lot. The Shaper weapon mods, which cause you to gain a portion of physical damage as extra fire damage, lightning, or extra damage of a random element, grant half as much damage. The amulets are unaffected by this change. This does not affect existing items. Existing versions can be updated to these values with a divine orb. Don't do that. I think they mean downgraded to these new values. Okay, so they legit halved stat sticks, right? Like on top of the mechanical nerf, they legit just halved the number of stat sticks, right? Yeah, okay. So stat sticks for spells are nerfed, yes, but still usable. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Halving them is probably a decent. Yeah, no, I'm on board with that. All right, that sounds good to me. Aegis Aura now has 300 to 400%, up from 80 to 100% increased armor and energy shield. Existing items can be updated. Okay. New versions of the Axiom no longer have 10 to 20% increased elemental damage with attacks. They now have 20 to 25% increased elemental damage with attack skills per power charge. Chill and Freeze is now based on 100%, up from 65% of energy shield. You can update existing versions of an Axiom with a new item with a divine orb. Okay, sure, whatever. Fine. Crown of Eyes now causes you to leech from all types of attack damage, not just physical attack damage. This affects all versions of the item. I'm on board with that. That's nice. Cloak of Defiance now has 300 to 400%. Excuse me. Up from 110 to 150 increased evasion and energy shield. Nice. $300 to 400%. Nice, that actually makes it usable. Nice, alright, cool. Mjolnir trigger now has a cooldown of 150 milliseconds, down from 250. This will affect all versions. Yep, brilliant. Shurm's Ire now adds 173 to 188 to 240 to 262. Up from Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. Wait, hang on. That is a lot, and it's got chance to dodge hits and chance to dodge spells. It's an evasion base. Damn, that could actually be really useful. Like, no joke, that could be really useful. Fixing versions, it no longer adds cold damage to all attacks. To attacks with bows, it no longer adds all damage to all attacks. Alright, hang on just 1 second, guys. Right, okay, so really buffed that piece, but for bow attacks only. Which, by the way, that's a lot of fucking cold damage for a bow. That's a lot of cold damage for a bow. Anyway, Carcass Jack now grants 40 to 50% increased area of effect. Oh my god, it's useful. It's useful. That's a useful number. Carcass Jack is back in the game. Oh, that's exciting. New versions of Bringer of Rain are now supported socketed skills with level 18 blind and faster attack. It can also affect This change also affects very, very old versions of Bringer of Rain. Bring these in line with the original support levels. The Divine Orb will not update existing items to new values. However, it will update the life values on Bringer of Rain to the new value of 200 to 220. Up from 120 to 160. Okay, Bringer of Rain is now legit again. So that's exciting. Doriani's Fist now adds 150 to 255 to 525 to 600. Down from really high numbers. It was already not good enough. What? Lightning damage to unarmed attacks. 360. Slightly up, so still nerfed. Lightning damage to spells while unarmed. The Doriani's touch skill granted by Doriani's skits now hits up to 50 enemies per skill use, up from 20. Has 20% more area of effect and now costs 8 mana instead of 25. And it can no longer be evaded. It now has 50% less attack speed, down from 30%. Added damage effectiveness. 600% added damage effectiveness, up from 350, and now converts all physical damage to lightning damage, up from 50%. That's usable. Doriani's Fist. Doriani's Fist. Alright, let's go. Lionized Vision now has a dexterity requirement of 160 in addition to its strength requirement. This is not exactly who this change will be made. This change was made to make it easier to roll green sockets. Sure, that's fine. That's the least exciting one so far. Duresso's Defiance now grants Onslaught for 5 seconds, up from 2 seconds per endurance charge when hit. And 60 to 90, up from 40 to 60 life. Existing versions. Doriani's Defiance. Hang on. Duresso's Defiance, rather. Duresso's Defiance. Ah, that's that one. No, that's still shit. No one wants it still. Malachi's Artifice no longer reduces elemental equilibrium effect. This affects all versions of the item. Cool. Doedri's Skin no longer reduces the effect of your curses. You can use a Divine Orb to remove this existing version. Curses socketed in Doedri's Skin now have 25% reduced effect of curses. Summoned Doedri's Effigy skill is now instant and has half a second cooldown. You can have up to 3 effigies at once. Ooh. Ooh, that's a thing. This could be interesting. Extractor Mentis. What the fuck is that? Extractor Mentis. PoE. And time, yep, no problem. Extractor Mentis. Oh, that thing. This thing. No one uses this. This is garbage. Is it still garbage? Hang on. Where is it? 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 Extractor Mentis now has 10% up from 5. Chance to gain Unholy Might for 10 seconds, up from 3 seconds on kill. A 10% chance for Onslaught for 10 seconds. I mean, okay. Sure. Still meh. Shade of Solaris now grants 200% up from 120% spell damage if you've dealt a critical strike in the last 8 seconds rather than recently. Existing versions can be updated. Okay, Shade of Solaris is pretty good. That's useful. The Brine Crown. Oh, that's another one. I don't know what that is. The Brine Crown. The Brine Crown now has 240 to 300%, up from 100 to 120. Armor and Energy Shield now grants 80 to 100 life. 1500 armor while stationary. Existing versions can be updated. Still meh. Light of Lunaris now has a buttload of Energy Shield. An additional chance to block. Increasing versions. Wow, that's... Light of Lunaris might actually be okay. That's a buttload more, yes. Kataba's Feast now has 265 to 330, up from 250 to 300% increased physical damage. I don't think... Elikari's Fang now has 100%, up from 20. Chance on kill to trigger raised spiders. This affects all versions of the item, though existing items will still say the skill has a 20% chance to trigger. The raised spider skill triggered by this item has also undergone the following changes. Adjusted visual and audio effects for the raised spider skill. Raised spider skills now have a cooldown of 2 seconds and a 100% chance to trigger. Raised spiders now have 100% more movement speed, a longer attacks range, a base duration of 30 seconds, deal 33% more damage, and always apply poisons on hit. They can no longer leap. Raised spiders are now level 75 instead of the area of the level you are in, and are immune to damage. For each raised spider you have, you now gain 2% attack speed and 12% increase to damage with poisons. That could be very interesting. That could be really interesting. Don't know if I want to say it could be good or not, but it could definitely be interesting. Guruskul's Pelt now grants 200 to 240 life, up from 130 to 160, and 5% up from 2% life regenerated per second. It is no longer has a range on the global physical damage, instead grants 100%. Existing items of this. Wow, that's actually not bad either. Wow, a lot of these are usable now. This is really interesting. This is really good. Tidebreaker now has 70 to 80 up to 375 added physical damage. Okay, so an increase there. Physical damage, existing version. Okay, so Tidebreaker is just still shit. We're not... Never mind. Martyr of Innocence increases fire damage. Martyr of Innocence's increased fire damage is no longer conditional. Now grants 230 to 250 to 300 and 350, up from nearly fucking half that. Added fire to spells. Existing versions can be updated with a Divine Orb. Okay, that's useful too. That's actually useful. Ristilian's Coil now grants 80 to 100 life. 30 to 40% up from 20% less minimum damage, and 30 to 40 up from 20% more maximum damage. Existing versions can be updated. Okay, I mean, functionally that's the same raw DPS pretty much. Dusk Dawn now grants 120 to 150 spell damage when you've dealt a critical strike recently. It now has plus 10% chance to block. Existing versions can be updated to this value. Dusk Dawn. What is that? Dusk Dawn. PoE. Ah, it's that thing. Yeah, alright, sure. Whatever. Leaper's Arm now has 50 to 600% increased evasion and energy shield. Leaper's Arms. yeah. Nah. It's not fantastic. Yeah, that's still not fantastic. Ooh, no! Grell Woodshank, oh, I'm scared. Now has... oh, more physical damage. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay, sure. It's fine. It's fine by me. A Bell Timber Blade now has more physical damage. Aberox has... Aberox? What is this one? Aberox. Aberox Assassin Bow. Ah, it's that one. The Fart Shot and Iron Reflexes bow. Right, okay, that's fine. That's pretty irrelevant. We already know that that's okay. New versions of... now 1% increased physical damage while you have Resolute Technique. This could actually be useful. %50 of physical damage converted to lightning damage. Mace. You have Resolute Technique while you do not have Elemental Overload. So if you just take Elemental Overload or Resolute Technique, you can guarantee that into one of those two forms. That could be useful. I'm pulling over important items anyway. Anything that's remotely useful. Culcanus. Culcanus? Man, some of these uniques are uniques I've never even heard of. Like, what even is this? Fire damage to bleeding enemies, physical damage to ignited enemies. You have Avatar of Fire half of the time. Okay, so it's garbage right now. No longer has added fire damage against bleeding enemies or added physical damage against ignited enemies. It no longer has a chance to inflict bleeding. And blah, blah, blah. It now has a bunch of added fire damage and added physical damage just at base. Now grants... ooh, now grants 70 to 100% increased fire damage versus bleeding enemies. And increases the chance of critical strike when you have a fire, Avatar of Fire. Still whatever. Razor of the Seventh Sun now has a buttload more physical damage. That's probably not enough for that. Obscurantis now grants a buttload of accuracy rating. Buttload more accuracy rating, that's fine. Snake Pit no longer causes your spells to fire an additional projectile. Instead, it now causes your spells to fork, preventing them from chaining while in the left ring slot, or chain, preventing them from forking while in the right ring slot, and prevents pierce. Snake Pit is going to be exciting. I'm excited to play with Snake Pit. That's actually useful. Silver Tongue no longer causes all arrows to pierce all targets after chaining, or arrows to pierce to inflicted bleeding. Now causes all arrows to pierce all targets after forking. It now grants arrows that fork 150 to 200% increased critical strike chance and a 50% multiplier. So this one actually does look like it's quite usable. Silver Tongue, the new version of Silver Tongue, is pretty different from the old one, and definitely is good. Reach of the Council no longer grants 2 additional arrows. It has 50 to 75 increased physical damage, and socketed support them with level 20 greater volley. Existing version can be updated with the new values, but will not change the additional arrows into a greater volley. Okay. The Void Gaze skill granted by Uber's Unification. What? Oh, this thing. This thing. Right, okay. Now reduces chaos enemy resistance by 20% and has a base range of 39. That's huge. Up from 26. It now correctly scales its effect to range. It now lasts 10 seconds, up from 2.5 seconds, and has a cooldown of 2 seconds. So it's up 100% of the time. This affects all versions of the items. Uber Infliction now has 150 to 180, up from 110 and blah blah blah. Energy Shield. That's actually quite useful. Yeah, that is quite useful. This actually might be really good for some chaos builds. The Void Gaze. That might actually be good. Reduces chaos enemy resistance by 20%. You can craft a 20% from fossils. You can craft 9% from fossils. This is 11% more than that. %, chaos res is a lot of damage. And yeah, a massive range. And Void Fletch now grants Void Charge every half second instead of every second, and the cooldown of the Void Shot has been reduced from half a second to 4 times a second, 1/4. Nice! Void Shot now travels and explodes 50% faster and deals 100% more area damage, up from 50%. The additional damage effectiveness for 120% from 100. This affects all versions of the item. Void Fletch might actually be useful now too. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Queen of the Forest now grants 1% increased movement speed per 600, up from 450 evasion rating, up to 75% max, down from 100%. This affects all versions of the item. It takes more work to become 75% as effective as it was before. Oh shit, yes please. Impulse's Broken Heart. Shocked enemies you kill explode, dealing 5% of their maximum life as lightning damage, which cannot shock. No longer has a range of 5 to 10% and is now set at 5%. I'm not sure that was enough. You hit Queen of the Forest harder than that. Sintrack now has 100 to 150, down from 100 to 160 energy shield. In the middle of all of that, they ever so slightly nerfed Sintrack. Really? Sintrack? Okay, whatever. Yes. Sadima's Touch now increases the quantity of items found by slain enemies by 5 to 10%, down from 12 to 16. I hope I read more of this quantity nerfing, please. More of this quantity nerfing. More of this. Indigon now grants 20 to 25%, down from 50 to 60% increased spell damage for each 200 mana you've spent recently, up to a maximum of 2000%. Alright, I'm on board. Quill Rain now causes you to deal 40% less damage as opposed to weapon damage. This affects all versions of the item. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts, Toxic Rain. Windripper now has 30 to 40, down from 60 to 80% increased critical strike chance. 40 to 60, 60 to 90, up from 32 to, so a lot more added cold. And 1 to 105, up from 80 to added lightning. Existing versions can now be. Oh, you didn't fuck with the quant. Oh, come on. Chin Soul now deals 50%, down from 100% more damage with arrow hits at close range, and has 200 to 260, up from 150 to 180% increased physical damage. Existing versions can be updated. Okay, so that makes Chin Soul slightly worse for bossing and quite a bit better for mapping with. If you happen to be not wanting to weapon swap, that's okay. Divination Distillate no longer provides maximum resistances during Flask effect, instead provides plus 50 to all elemental resistance during Flask effect. What? So now it's just a quant flask? Which you also didn't touch? Okay, whatever, sure. Do what you like. Fuck ya. Anyway. Spine of the first Calamite. What the fuck is Spine of the first Calamite? Oh, this piece of shit. Right, okay. Yep. Spine of the Calamite now grants cold damage over time. Cool, cool, cool. Mainly unraveling, blah, 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 blah. Non-ailment chaos damage over time and increased chaos damage, yep. New versions of Rhyme Gaze now add a bit of cold damage over time. Flesh and Spirit no longer grants 5 souls for a Vile skill on Rampage and causes kills to grant additional Rampage if you've Rampaged recently. Causes kills to grant additional Vile souls if you've Rampaged recently. Okay, that's fine. Oh, Wildfire is now limited to 1. This affects all versions of the item. Oh. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that really hurts. Oh, I was fine with everything up until right now. Oh, that hurts. Which is Wildfire? It's the Magma Strike Threshold Jewel. Look, they nerfed the Helm enchant, and I was like, yeah, that's okay, that deserves it. But nerfing Wildfire is... That's rough. That's rough, because that's 3 projectiles, which when you're normally Ancestral Calling, that's 9 less projectiles per attack. That is... rip. That is... I feel like that might actually be Rip Molten Strike. They did not buff the base damage of Molten Strike enough to play with that. Like that. They might have ruined Molten Strike for me. That's upsetting. I was really enjoying Molten Strike. That's 3 projectiles total per attack. 9 when you're using Ancestral Call. That might be too far. Okay. Zeref's Last Breath now grants a buff when you use the skill during the Flask effect. This buff recovers 450 to 600% of the skill's mana cost as life per second. This buff and healing is removed when you are hit. This affects all versions of the item. Holy fuck! Imagine how upset you'd be if you're the one guy who paid $1,000 to get a Xerfes card in this league. Just imagine you're the guy who paid $1,000 to get your Xerfes card put in this league, and now it gets put on the shit tier drop that we all turn off at like day 4. Oh, that's upsetting. That's upsetting. Blood of Corruption's Gluttony of Elements skill now prevents those affected by the aura from gaining Val souls. This affects all versions of the item. Well done. Well done. No more gluttony and vulnerability builds. That's not happening anymore. Rigwald's crest is now correctly displayed as a 10% chance to summon wolves on Krill rather than as a value at 5%. That was totally a lie because it was actually 10%. This is purely cosmetic change. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Invulnerability is unhealthy for the game. I don't agree with how they've gutted Xerfes. I could have done a better job of that myself. I'm not a fan of limiting my wildfire jewels to 1, or if I am, I would have made the 1 threshold jewel give me 3 additional projectiles instead of 2, because you've already nerfed 1 from the Helm enchant, and nerfing another 1 from losing the 2nd jewel, I probably would have been okay with. It would have taken a little bit more investment, but I feel like it still would have been a usable skill. But losing 3 total is massive. That's huge. I feel like they went 1 too far. That's just my personal opinion, but I feel like they went 1 too far. But that's okay, I'll just find something else to play. It's fine. Clarification of description of Scald Bridal Key mod. To clarify it, this does not apply when spending mana only on mana reservation, blah blah blah. This too is purely a cosmetic change. Okay, that's not important. The Rogue Exile Ultman Thule now uses an updated version of Ice Spears, updated the Cannibal's torch throwing behavior. It also looks cooler now. Oh my god, this was a real patch note. Blood Chieftains can now hurl blood apes at you. That's fantastic. That was a real note. That is so good. This is my favorite note in the whole thing so far. Blood Chieftains can now hurl blood apes at you. Fury Hands now use an updated version of Burning Ground. That's great. Temple of Atzuatl changes. The level of the present day temple is now the average level of each incursion plus 10, capped at the highest level of incursion at that temple. That's... well... okay. That's fucked. Well, it's still, you'd have to run 1 tier 15 map, 1 tier 15 temple inside that, but yes, you could then spend the rest of your time. You could run tier 15s until you get your first temple, and then you could go down to tier 5 maps and run the rest of it until you got all of the temple done down there, and be fine. It was always like that, but it was always plus 3 levels, which I thought felt okay. I could see with it being rarer, wanting to increase that, but I would have expected it to go from like 3 to 5, not from like 3 to 10. That's very excessive. Azurite Mine and Sulfite changes. Player depth notification are now announced every 50 depths, so you won't get spammed with updates. Can I have it the old way back, please? Slightly reduced the damage dealt by the darkness based on player life and energy shield, and added a small amount of flat damage per darkness stack. Ruined. This was 2nd week into the league. I said all they need to do is add a tiny amount of flat damage per stack. Just a tiny amount. Even if it's like 1 damage per 5 stacks, it'll be enough. It's too excited to reach to. Yep. Yeah, okay, so I proposed this change 2 weeks into the league, so I'm glad that happened. Darkness immunity is no longer a thing, and I'm not saying that you can't darkness farm still, but you certainly can't do it the way I was doing it all league. That's not a thing. You can't do that anymore. That's great. The Pulsing Grotto encounter now lasts longer before the boss appears. Monsters in this encounter reward significantly more experiencing when slain. Reduce the number of drop bears that plummet in the plummeting drop bear encounter. Special encounters now drop more rare items with a variety of items as well. Fossils and resonators are now found more frequently behind fractured walls and less frequently in the more accessible areas. So if you want fossils, bring dynamite. Yeah. Oh yeah. Voltaxic sulfite acquisition values have been adjusted to account for the new rate at which you will encounter voltaxic sulfite veins. Okay, this is good. This is good. I'm very happy with the mine changes. Not so happy with the temple changes. I feel like that number should be halved, but that's fine. Bestiary and menagerie changes. Your bestiary book is now account-wide. If you catch a book in one league, it will be recorded in your bestiary and all other leagues in perpetuality. The itemized beasts themselves are still league specific. There is now a global capture limit of 1,000 beasts rather than a per genus limit. The previous total maximum was approximately 680, though most players were likely to hit the genus specific limits. Beast crafting recipes have been completely reworked and simplified. Non-spirit beast unique beasts can't appear in the menagerie or bestiary. Alright, cool. Yeah, Del changes are perfect. Beastery changes are perfect. Temple's a bit perpetually. I don't know. Prophecy changes. Adjusted the weightings of many prophecies. You can now complete the steps of many prophecy change in various maps. Prophecies which can trigger in maps no longer lock their triggers to a specific map out of their possible pool. In other words, if you attempt to open a map where a prophecy might trigger and it doesn't, it may trigger the next time you open it. Previously, it did not trigger on that map. It never, ever would. We knew this. This is why we always sealed and opened. That's fantastic. Prophecies that previously forced the appearance of one of the old masters will now force the appearance of one of the new ones. Great. Great. Map changes! We saw nothing about Ark lately, Blakey. I have not read a single thing about Ark, and I feel like I'm already through all of the things. So you're fine. The Atlas of Worlds has been shuffled. Most of the changes to tiers and locations within the Atlas. Right, hang on. Alright, as part of the Atlas Circle, many maps have been reviewed and the global bringing of their layouts and monster density is up to par with other maps. Ooh, we've got some density improvements! Doc Leisure, thank you very much for the biddies. Map icons have been upgraded to indicate that they are part of a new series. Existing maps from previous series have been updated to these new versions. Existing maps from the previous series have been updated to these. Whatever. Completing a map as part of a Zeta mission now counts towards your Atlas completions and associated challenges. Oh! Why? What? No! Why? Zeta's been nerfed. Yeah, it is kind of good for us, but it's not good overall. It's not what we actually want. That's actually gross. That's a disgusting change. This is the first thing I've read and gone, that's actually wrong. You're wrong. that shouldn't have happened, that's gross, don't do it. That's fucked. The Springs map has been replaced by the Fungal Hallow map. Existing Spring map will now open portals to the Fungal Hallow map. Okay. The Acid Lake maps has been replaced by Acid Cavern. Same deal. Tribunal map has been replaced by Crater map. Same deal. The Gorge map has been replaced by Glacier. I liked Gorge. Existing Gorge map will now open portals to the Glacier. I liked Gorge. So much for completing Xenas and not fucking your Shaper strat? Yeah, you'll just, like, if you open a Xena and there's no map on there you want to complete, you'll just skip Xena. Like, if you get unlucky enough that none of them are great, then you'll have to skip that Xena, and if the good ones that you want, like you want to do Harbinger, but it's on some shit, yeah, I guess you can just do it and not kill the boss. It's fine. It's fine, it's just not ideal. There was no reason for it. It doesn't bring anything, it doesn't help anyone, it's just a shit change. I just don't like it. Anyway. Sections that previously forced the appearance of old masters now force the appearance of new ones. A bunch of other changes. Increases the average number of monsters spawned inside an abyssal depth area. Good. The Atlas icon, which indicated that a certain map contained a memory fragment, and it will now correctly state whether it is a boss, Elder Garden, or the Elder itself that holds it. Good. Vision of Justice and the Goddess projectile barrage skill have changed in such a way that instead of multiplying the number of projectiles these skill fires, additional projectiles add to the number of projectiles fired. Okay, that's good, because that particular boss with multi-proj was actual bullshit. Ooh, Xena mods! Xena League mods available during 3.5. Okay, we've got Anarchy for 3 Rogue Exiles, 2 Chaos, Torment for 4 Tormented Spirits we're never using for 2 Chaos, Fortune Favors the Brave at 3, Alternative of the same tier at 1 Chaos. Fuck you. I was hoping that wouldn't make it in. Domination for 3 shrines. Perandus. Okay, Perandus we got up at 3 chaos. Read the italic. You tell Baylor doesn't like Atlas completion? No, Baylor loves Atlas completion. Baylor likes it when I have to actually work for Atlas completion. It's not just handed to me like I'm a toddler who can't do my own work. With the removal of master levels, these are now unlocked as you progress through the Atlas quest chain. These are legal, blah, 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 with their costs in the expected order that they will be unlocked. Sure, yeah, whatever. We got Perandus, a shaped tier 1 to 5, which I again wish didn't happen. I was really hoping they wouldn't stay. Breach area contains breaches. Area contains 2 additional breaches. 4 chaos. That's a good one. Harbinger only at 4 chaos. Area contains 2 extra Harbinger packs at only 4 chaos. I found my home. We'll be doing those. Shaped for 6 chaos 1 to 10. Abyss for 5. Contains 2 abyss. Meh. Eldered. Costs 15 chaos. Yep, cool. Alright, sure. The Stream of Monsters Strongbox mod now spawns monsters much more quickly and can spawn magic and rare monsters. That's cool. That's cool. User interface. Removed the Leave Guild button from the drop-down player menu, thanks. The League key, default V, now shows either Beastry, your Incursion Temple, or the Delve Azurite map, or the Beastry, or the Betrayal Investigation Board, based on where you use it. Okay, sure. That's going to be weird to get used to, but I'm okay with it. The stash drop down now shows symbols. We're pretty happy about that. Added a minimap slider to the zoom settings. It's going to remember. It's going to remember your settings. Ah, oh, fuck yeah. You can now buy entire stacks of currency by shift clicking. This will buy the most you can afford up to a full stack. Yep, cool. That helps. Data map rewards have been updated. Cool. PvP changes literally nobody cares about. We're literally skipping those. Bug fixes. Fixed a bug where the Stone Skin Flare skill effect audio would linger after death despite not being part of the Immortal Syndicate. Are any of these actually important things? Fixed a bug where Blade Vortex's damage multipliers were also affecting the decays it was applying. Didn't know that was a thing. Fixed a bug where using an instant skill would not remove phase run buff. Didn't know that was a thing. Fixed a bug again where golem duration was being passed down from the primordial jewels to the golem themselves when not in. Fixed a bug. Use detonate mind after it was already given a mana cost and did not have the mana required to use it. Okay. Fixed a bug where you already had would prevent Val Molten Shell from correctly detonating. Fixed a bug where sources of reduced curse effect exceeding 100%. Sources of reduced curse effect exceeding 100%, your curses would behave erratically. Okay. Shaper Stronghold could spawn on a map that weren't adjacent to Elder Influence. This was unintended. Fixed a bug where Shaper's Strongholds could not spawn on maps that weren't adjacent to Elder Influence. This was unintended. God damn it! Not only did I think that was intended, I thought that was a fantastic thing to use and thematically appropriate. Even if it was an accident, why wouldn't you leave that on? It was thematically appropriate, and it gave me something to play with. Now I don't have any control. Fuck you. God damn it, Zeb. Zeb did 3 things in this whole patch note. Fixed a bug that prevented Cannibal Eater Fire Spectres from being able to do anything but auto-attacking large bosses. Bug where some monsters could become untargetable in the Delve Undead Roar counter. Fixed some Tipso! Fixed some Tipso. Alright. Well, I'm incredibly happy with this. Incredibly happy with this. Incredibly happy that we fixed some Tipso. That's brilliant. That's my favourite one. By a long shot. Fixed some Tipso. There's only about 3 notes in here that I don't agree with, which for patch notes is amazingly good. Like, that's amazingly good. But yeah, only about 3 in there that I don't agree with out of the whole thing. Everything looks brilliant. Love the bestiary stuff. Love the mind changes. Way too forgiving on the temple changes, but so the temple changes being average plus 10 capped at the most, that was way too forgiving. That's way too forgiving. Plus 5 at most. And I think they hit Molten Strike too hard. They got rid of 3 of our projectiles total, and I think getting rid of 1 or even 2 would have been enough. 2 probably would have been okay. That's pretty much it, I think. The rest of it I was pretty damn happy with. What are your thoughts on the Toxic Rain weapon changes? Should I not bother with this build anymore? Toxic Rain is still fucking fantastic. It just means you probably can't get away with using a Quill Rain all the way up into red maps and into Guardians and into Shaper and into Uber Elder and into everything. It will still go fine to begin with. and in low tier maps, but you will have to actually craft them or get a decent bow. That's all. Alright, we're gonna make that.